Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on our weekly edition of Real Estate Backstory. So this is our June 1st. Welcome to a new month. We have just tipped over into the midway point on the year, which
Beginning
seems
summer
absolutely
season.
amazing. I'm not sure that I'm ready for half the year to be away, but by the other token, it's been a very interesting year. I don't think anyone said this is how I see 2020 being so far. So, but it's been a long road for 2020 so far. We've had some successes and some challenges as well,
And
and
changes.
yeah,
And some of those are very for good changes. Just as our webinar for our CE class, a lot of you were able to take advantage of that while you're at home and gain the access and the information that you need.
all right. But unfortunately, we're going to start off kind of like our, I think the main topic going on right now is that we need to be looking at posting no hate is kind of the unpopular start of where we want to go today, kind of thing, because hate is it's the most devastating trait that we have, and unfortunately we've been allowing it to simmer for a long time. So we got to suffocate it. We have to put it out at every opportunity that we have. We have to stop hate with communication, with action, financially when we can do it. Whatever we can do, always and forever, we have to stop the hate. It feeds off our silence, and we just can't take that position anymore. Again, we can't go by and just look at these things happening and not do and say something. So do stay with us, because we're going to be wrapping up today and discussing like one of the most inspirational leaders, and for me personally, is Nelson Mandela. So we're going to start, and we're going to end up with a study of a brief study of his life. I kind of want to go, when I say study, it sounds weird, but basically I want you to understand what he went through and what he accomplished and how he accomplished. And then what are those facets of his business that or of his life that we can apply to our business, kind of thing. So that being said, I kind of want to jump into the news. So every week I go through and I scour all the financial markets, the real estate markets, real estate news, lending news, mortgage, everything that I can find that deal with the real estate market in the, especially as it pertains to Atlanta, but even nationally, kind of thing. And so I just kind of want to jump in and kind of go where we are in the markets this week, where we are in real estate for Atlanta and the Atlanta MSA and that kind of stuff. So, but the reason I do this is because when economic issues, especially when those things spark in our communities, it gives us the opportunity to really be professionals, to be the voice of reason, and to guide people through challenging, unknown, difficult times. When we become that person, that entity that drives that's really where we show how much value that we bring in, not only to the transaction, but into the marketplace and into our world, kind of thing. And so, I kind of want to start off with this quote from, the chief economist for CoreLogic. He said, for the first 6 decades after World War II, the housing sector led the rest of the economy out of every single recession. Expect it to do this time as well. And that's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of economic data that may not necessarily be what I would call stellar, great. It's definitely not great and amazing news overall. But for the housing market, we are just seeing a ton of really like I had to kind of search this week, like the news kind of was too good for everything going on in the world to find so much good news about real estate was a bit of a is this real? I had to kind of check myself, kind of thing. And so we're going to kind of go through that. We do kind of start off with what is a negative and a positive. And so that is our initial jobless claims. And so you can still see that initial jobless claims are high. They continue to be high. But when you look at the positive trend that we have going on, you can see that, yes, unemployment claims are still high. Everything going on in the economy is continuing to impact with so many people still out of work, that's a big deal. But when you look at the positive trend of how things are going, it is kind of enlightening and encouraging to see that we are making a very positive shift or trend towards getting back into the more normal range kind of thing. And I think we're also kind of seeing that everywhere, throughout the entire U.S., we're seeing a lot more opening up.
Absolutely, especially outdoor recreation. And right now, VROB are open and they're booked solid until August. So it is a good thing because it create consumer confidence, and as well as people are ready to go out to go back into the norm, basically.
Yeah, exactly. We are seeing that. Also, the as far as the economy goes, if you look at five charts that track how the U.S. economy is as the states reopen, U.S. hotel occupancy rates are moving back up in the positive direction. Change in requests for directions, like they pull Apple Maps, and you start seeing how many people are looking for directions. Well, you could see that there was a massive drop during coronavirus because we weren't driving as much. But guess what? We're almost back to where we were, kind of thing. So driving is up. Walking is actually up as well. What's not up is public transport. Public transport is still not up. U.S. restaurant bookings continue to be down, but improving. I think that's going to be one of the sectors of the market that dragged behind a little bit, as well as air travel. There is a positive trend on air travel, but it's nowhere near where it was, and in the foreseeable future, we're not sure exactly where that's going. I know that we have a lot of friends in Delta, and there's a lot of anxiety going on here in Atlanta, being the hub of the home quarters for Delta. This is a big deal for our local market, and we have the world's busiest airport, so that definitely has an impact on our local economy here as well. But we are seeing air travel pick up, and so I'm hoping that hangs on as that continues to move up. And then U.S. home purchases continue to rise. As a matter of fact, we're back, if not where we were, we're over. And we as a company are, kind of thing. There's some new information out from the Wall Street Journal that for the economy, the worst of the coronavirus shutdowns appear to be over. According to NAR, we have more contract signings, or that our contract signings are not going to go any lower. We have bottomed out, and we are actually really on a very, very positive trend. I know that Ming oversees our paperless pipeline, our transactions, and that kind of stuff. She inspects every single contract that we do. She and Keisha do. And so, what are you seeing on the transaction side, Ming?
I can tell you, I'm working the last 2 weekends just to even slightly remotely keep up with y'all. So that's a positive thing for all of y'all, because it couldn't make me more happier to see that you guys are out there active in serving our clients. And if not, was very proactive during the COVID stay in shelter time to reach out to your clients and to reap the fruit that you have today.
Right. I mean, what a lot of agents are doing today is that time when we were shut up and closed up, they were still reaching out, and now that's really paying off for them big time, kind of thing. So, we're even seeing that, according to Housing Wire, the housing market's already rebounding from COVID-19. They asked that, but they really do see that that's going on. As far as pricing goes, you can forget about real estate bargains. I mean, we're just not seeing prices continue to increase. We are not seeing a pricing that is going down. I'm not saying that there's not any kind of options or that you can't find the occasional deal here and there. I promise you're going to have to dig for it. And on overall regular for sale home prices, you're just not seeing anyone that's dropping their price because they don't have to. This is a supply demand issue. And right now we have a ton more demand than we have supply.
Nice.
Absolutely. So, home prices are still rising. Granted, it's at a slightly slower pace, but that slower pace is really just the number of transactions. And as we said, nationally, the nation is not rising as quickly as we are in the Atlanta market kind of thing. The Atlanta MSA is really outpacing the rest of the country kind of thing. It didn't seem to impact us quite as bad kind of thing. You know, some of the some of the numbers that came out through this recent study is that, you know, median home prices to 5,000 jumped 3.1% over last week, which is double the 1.5 increase of the previous week. So home prices continue to go up. And then they recently, you know, NAR recently wrote that prices for existing homes jumped 7.4% in April compared to a year earlier. So again, we're not seeing pricing going down.
Decline.
What we are seeing, though, and what we're having a hard time with is listings. The number of listings on the market fell 22%. That continues to be one of the biggest challenges for us, is that we need more listings. So right now, reaching out, talking to our clients, my goodness, it's exactly what we need to do. And I can promise you, when you put a house on the market right now, it's a great place to be.
I mean, there's, as soon as the house is on the market, is under contract 9 out of 10. So I'm seeing down people's pipeline. I see listing agent put in their file, and 2 days later is under contract. So that's great news for all of y'all.
It's a great problem to have.
Absolutely. So
plus it gives you a lot of confidence in going out and marketing for listings, is that, you know, everyone's a listing king right now kind of thing. So as you price it right, and the key is still being priced right.
That's a key, price it right.
We just can't go nuts on price kind of thing, because, you know, we are seeing a modest increase, 3%. You know, that's not a, you know, that's not coming in $50,000 over asking or over what the neighborhood averages is, that kind of thing. That's not going to work. So mortgage applications continue to be up kind of thing.
So lenders are having a good time right now, just so you know.
Well, mortgage, you know, when coronavirus hit, you know, everyone was like, oh, you know, everyone was so down on the housing market, and, well, not us, but a lot of people were down on the housing market. And I don't want to do the whole "I told you so" thing, but I told you so. And now, you know, it's really great to kind of see that the mortgage applications, you know, everyone kept saying, oh, it's going to be down, it's going to be down, it's going to be down. What's that? It's up 50% since April kind of thing. That's a 100% increase, just so you know, the way they work the numbers kind of thing. So we are running on, I think, 6 weeks straight of mortgage application increases.
Yes.
And so now we're up 54% since April kind of thing. As more markets throughout the U.S. open up, we're going to see more of that going on here in the Atlanta market, or in the Atlanta area. You know, things are largely open as much as people want them to be, if that makes any sense. And so we continue to see more and more mortgage applications, which is putting even more buyer pressure on our existing home sales kind of thing. People want to buy. I mean, and when you look at where the mortgage rates are now,
it's
phenomenal. You know,
yeah.
It really is. So, and this is not just, and while refis are up as well, this is purchase mortgage applications that we're talking about here. You know, the economists at the Mortgage Bankers Association, the MBA, said the exact same things. Now the mortgage applications are 5% higher than they were a year ago. Mm-hmm. Hey guys, we're over last year in mortgage applications. And so if you thought last year was a good year, well, guess what? We're up by 5% on the number of people applying for mortgages. That's a great indicator for where our market's going, right? Like, because summer is our new spring. Summer is the season for us right now. We got to strike while the iron's hot. 30-year mortgage rate hit a new record low again last week, and this is starting to feel a little bit like a broken record, because every week I come on here and I'm like, hey, mortgage rate hit a new low. Hey, mortgage rates hit a new low. Guess what happened this week? Mortgage rates hit a new low again, kind of thing. And so, you know, we are seeing just phenomenal interest rates right now. The only, and you know, of course, as we said, mortgage applications are up. The Wall Street Journal does point out that you know, the mortgage credit is tightening, though. Like their credit, the availability of credit is is much tighter. That is a concern. We are starting to see a few lenders that are starting to open up a little bit more. We got a couple of folks at 600. We got some, we have some that have recently just dropped to a 620. I know there's a few at 580, but not very many right now. And if you are at a 580, you're going to pay it. You're not getting the amazing mortgage rates at a 580 right now.
No.
And so, for us, this is really about our message to our clients and with our clients has got to be keep your nose clean. Okay. We the better your credit is right now, the lower your rates are going to be. And so we really want to do everything we can to communicate credit worthiness, keeping your credit straight, not doing stupid things, making sure that you are protecting your credit, because that is your buying power. We have the ability right now to purchase homes at unforeseen mortgage rates. And I know at some point this can't keep going down.
Yeah, it eventually will go back up again. So, right now being a summer season, I will highly encourage your client to go ahead and apply for an application with a lender. You won't, well, I won't say this, that you'll never, but you won't see this price point for a very long time.
We didn't think we'd see it anyway. And the fact that we're in the threes and in the high twos, we had one purchase and sale where they came in at 2.65, and so that's just an amazing
all-time low.
Yeah, I mean, like that's just phenomenal to see that come in. So don't let your clients miss out on this opportunity right now. Oops, I think I went the wrong way. We'll try this again. All right, the other thing that caught the talking heads nationally off is that new home sales posted an unexpected increase. Unexpected for them, not really unexpected for us. For us, we still know that this is a supply-demand issue. And with COVID, if anything, we've seen that more people want that new home that nobody's lived in. I don't want a house that has nobody's cooties in it, kind of thing, is really what we're seeing. So, demand is definitely being boosted by these mortgage rates. But as more and more people are opening up and coming out of their COVID cocoons, new home sales is one of those areas where they're really looking heavily right now.
Absolutely.
So if you're working with buyers, be ready, be well versed on working with new construction. Know what new construction is going on in your market. What are the price points in the neighborhoods around you? Let's do some research, because a lot of our clients want to know more about new construction, and sometimes we don't look at new construction until we have that one client that's looking to buy in new construction. But if you'll go ahead and get yourself well versed on this market and what's going on in new construction, that will really help position you as the expert. We're also seeing there's a new study out by NAR, and so that most consumers aren't afraid to return to our market. This is a very positive trend. And so we're seeing that more and more people are willing to open their house, attend open houses, and start getting back into the marketplace kind of thing. One thing that they are seeing is that the clients are, with this, this study is called the back to normal barometer kind of thing. And what they found is that clients prize safety measures, even if they don't do them, even if they don't use them. I know it sounds bizarre. Right. It's not that like I don't want to wear a mask, but if I know that you're cleaning and I know that maybe you're wearing a mask, or that you guys are talking about safety, that's important to them. They may not do it themselves. The other thing that came out is we can't just rely completely on virtual tours. The use of virtual tours right now is a very big deal for our industry. We need to be doing as many virtual tours as we can and showcasing our property. What's happening is the consumers are using those virtual tours to vet the properties that they really want to go see. And so there, while we did see an uptick in the number of virtual tours being done and how effective they were, still at the end of the day, the majority of our buyers, even though there is definitely a shift in consumer purchasing, we're seeing that they still want to go see that house themselves. And that's where the virtual tours set that up. And that's how you can help your house, your listing stand out, is by having a really good virtual tour, walking tour through the property, as much video as you can do. Our consumers are eating this up right now. And then understand that that your clients are going to expect you to offer guidance on how to transact real estate during COVID-19.
And just really quick, I am going to upload a revision on COVID-19 stipulation, because we had an incident where the stipulation was not clear, and depends on interpretation of that stipulation. Which side you represent, it can come across as indefinite extension from the buyer perspective, on listing, seller perspective. It may not be. So I just want to make sure, while sellers are actually at a very disadvantage. So if you have a listing right now, that COVID-19 stipulation, and especially make sure you put all 3 paragraphs. Don't do just the first 2, not the third one, because the third one is just as important, because the third one actually defines the timeline of extension. Whereas the first one, the way it's worded, it sounds like it's indefinite. So I will update those in Paperless Pipeline and post them in Workplace as well. But I just want you guys to be aware of that issue. And I will do a mass email to our internal agents as well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Back to the news. More first-time home buyers are entering the market. This is great news for us, but this is also something that we need to be aware of. We've been wanting more first-time buyers into the market, because first-time buyers are people that haven't been in our market. Like when it's a buyer who's selling and then buying another, that's not bad necessarily, but it's more first-time buyers really drive the entire market up.
Okay.
First-time buyers entering the marketplace really start things going, kind of thing. So it's a great thing right now. So the share of first-time buyers rose from 32% a year ago to 36%. And matter of fact, if you look at first-time buyer share is rising. What's the other interesting thing is that investors are retreating. And so, during especially in the initial stages of COVID, we saw a lot of, like the iBuyers, a lot of them got out of the markets.
They're back.
Well, they are back. But the other thing that we see is that investor purchases are market driven. And so when the investors are really hot in our market is when the markets are really doing well, that kind of thing. But because the market's kind of been all over the place, we've seen investor activity actually dropping. Matter of fact, investor activity dropped 7% over the last few months, kind of thing. At the same time, first-time buyer share is rising. Now, even when the investors come back into our market, and they are going to come back, which is going to put even more pressure on our market and on pricing, the first-time buyers are not going anywhere. We're still seeing a positive trend in first-time buyers moving into the market, especially with these amazing interest rates. And I think that as with the prices continuing to increase, I think we're going to see a lot of investors that are kind of purchased, that are kind of costed and priced out of the market a little bit. The investors looking for the low-hanging fruit ain't there. Like, it's just not there anymore for them to be able to pull on that way.
And there's currently a lot of wholesalers trying to tell you, oh, the average market value is this, buy for this price, and it's only repair, very minimum. Y'all, please do your homework, because I can tell you right now, those wholesalers are not there for you. And 9 out of 10, when I look at their data, it's not really good return on it.
I know some of you are wholesalers.
Sorry.
I love you, but the vast majority of wholesalers are liars. Everything that comes out, hey, this house is worth this much. No, it's not. Hey, this only needs this much in repairs. No, it's not. So,
So speaking of which, you kind of brought up our next CE class this Friday is comparable market analysis, which will help you.
Yeah, I'll go over that in a minute. So yeah, we will be I am teaching CMAs on Friday, kind of thing. Thank you.
Yes.
COVID-19 is stimulating a shift right now in where people want to live. We are starting to see a shift. For a number of years, we've seen a shift back to urban. We've seen more people moving into Atlanta. over the past several years, wanting to be closer to everything. And now we really started to see a secular pivot to suburbia away from our urban markets. You can see that, all the talking heads on CNBC, we're talking about this, and we're kind of seeing the same thing. We're seeing more purchase activity in our suburban listings than we are in our urban right now. Another, more good news from May, new pending sales are up 50% from same period in April last year. Also the same thing from Zillow. Zillow traffic for sale listings is up 50% over a year ago. Not just 50% over last month, a 50% from a year ago. Pending sales are up 50% since April, kind of thing. New listing sales are up 12.5% since April 10th. And so Zillow is seeing the exact same. Now, I know that we're no big fans of Zillow, but you can't deny that Zillow is the master of real estate data. They have a ton of data. So I do like pulling the data from them when it makes sense. And these are really solid numbers that really see that mirror what we are seeing in our marketplace right now. Some other things that we're seeing is that the demand for the mortgage bailouts have slowed to like a trickle kind of thing. See, the first week that the mortgage bailout came out, there was 325,000 people that applied for mortgage bailouts or for forbearance kind of thing. Last week, 7,000. So we're talking about just a small percentage, and so that to me is a really great sign kind of thing. Now it's still high overall. I got it. It's much higher than we want it to be, but by the same token, seeing that it literally went from 300,000 to 7,000 is just staggering to see that level of improvement because it was even higher than that last week. So this has been a very steady trend moving down. Our short-term rental market kind of thing is still having challenges out there. And I bring this up because I think that there's an opportunity for agents to reach out to the VRBO people right now. If you got clients that have VRBO properties, being able to, there's several groups that are, there's venture funded companies as well as mom and pop that are in the short-term rental business that are offloading properties right now. And so this is a really good place for agents to be. We need more listings. And some of these folks are just looking to cut bait and run kind of thing. And so, but on the other hand, there are also companies that are looking to pick these companies up. So, if you can match up sellers with buyers here, that's what we do. This is a great opportunity for some of us to be able to jump into this piece of the market. And because, this is one of the few places in the market where I see where there is some opportunity for more listings, as well as there's a lot of people wanting to buy these as well kind of thing. The other great thing about these properties are because they've been rented and they've been maintained and they want to keep up all they want to keep up their 5-star ratings. The conditions of these properties are really top notch. They're very, a lot of these landlords have kept these properties in really good shape, even though they're getting rented every week. They're getting cleaned every week. They're going to maintain. If something breaks, it's getting fixed right away. So these are properties that are ready to go on the market now. Zombie foreclosures have dropped during COVID-19. Zombie foreclosures are houses that are vacant, sit vacant, and kind of in that pre-foreclosure stage, and it's actually down 3.5%. We were concerned about the foreclosure market and what was going to be what was going to be happening with that. The government forbearance is one of those things that has definitely helped. There is also a federal mandate preventing lenders from foreclosing on government securities, that kind of thing. That has also helped. One concern is that ends on June 30th. And so at that point we'll see, but seeing the number of people that are dropping out of forbearance and not taking forbearance anymore has declined so much. We're very hopeful right now. Matter of fact, we need more listings. So I'm not that concerned about it at the moment because I got way more buyers than I have sellers at the moment. As you're out engaging with your clients, when you come across clients that are having issues, Fannie Mae has knowYourOptions.com. And this is a resource for owners and for renters on the different ways that COVID may have impacted them, kind of thing. And what are the options? What are the help? How can they do it? And so this is a free website through Fannie and Freddie, kind of thing, that can help our friends.
Our clients too.
Yep. So one thing we got to be ready for, well, we should have been ready already, but one thing that we're seeing is that summer is our new buying season. Summer 2020 is when we are on fire, and it's here.
You know, everybody's been cooped up in their house, so they're looking either upgrade their home, get more room, or downgrade if they're empty nesters. So, you know, right now is the best time.
Well, it's good for buyers, and it's good for sellers. So, like if you look at you know, the opportunity for buyers, kind of thing, you know, the 30-year mortgage rate has been below 3.5% for 4 consecutive weeks, kind of thing. As a buyer, inventory is tight, but on the other hand, mortgage rates are the lowest they've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we keep saying that again and again, but when are you going to be able to get money at the rates that you can right now? It's going to hurt them to wait. So there's an amazing opportunity out there for buyers. At the same time, we have an amazing opportunity for sellers. Our listing prices are continuing to go up. Sale prices continuing to go up. Days on market continue to go down. This is a great time for us to look like a hero to our sellers, as well as be a hero with our buyers. So buyers can buy property for the lowest rates they've ever had, and sellers are able to capture more equity and more value from their home than ever before. It continues to move up. So, you know, I know that our friends will be like, hey, what's going on in the housing market? It's a great time to buy. It's a great time to sell. That needs to be our mantra, because that's truly what's going on in our market. This is not, you don't need to wait. You don't need to sit on the fence. You don't need to sit back. Okay. We need folks. And then the other thing is that when we do this, we drive our economy. You know, this is going to help us come out of our COVID crisis, kind of thing. This week at MX1 training, so we have 2 CE classes this week on Thursday. On Thursday, the 4th at 9:30. I'm sorry, I just squished her toe. I can't even speak anymore. But on Thursday, Dana is teaching licensed law for agents and brokers online. This is our licensed law class.
And agents are required to have this licensed law class every 4 years. So please take advantage of that at this time.
You're going to have 36 hours. 3 of it has to be licensed law. So this is a great one. A lot of you will need that. On Friday, I'm teaching determining market value, which is a pretty boring name, but really what I'm doing is I'm doing CMAs. And so I'm going to show you how I do a CMA, what a CMA really is, how to do the back end of the back work on that. And then I'm going to do a CMA in Georgia MLS and Paragon. I'm going to do a CMA in FMLS and Matrix. I'm going to do a CMA in Cloud CMA as well. If I have time, I may even open RPR and do a CM in there if time's allows. So this is, if you are really looking to up your game on how to do CMAs, and we need to do a lot of CMAs, I invite you to join me on there.
It's a great class, because if you think about it, it's, you know, as a listing agent, you can confidently walk into a listing and give your client all the data. And as a buyer's agent, you can help your client by serving them to make sure you're making an offer within reason. Mm-hmm. So it's a win-win situation. All right, before we go further, as you can see, we want to give a shout out to Letty Hill, who's the top producer for Atlanta Realtor Association.
Top 15% in the
for the Atlanta $4 million last year. So good job, Letty. We're very proud of you.
Just wanted to throw that out there.
Yes.
All right, and then we are now taking our weekly real estate backstory, and we are now on Spotify. And so if you will open up Spotify and search under podcasts, you can find us and join us. So if you can't catch us here, please feel free to catch us verbally, at least, on our weekly podcast for real estate backstory. We are on Spotify now as well. You can also find the podcast on our website, max1partners.com. All right. One thing that we've been working heavily on is to try and put in place some agent accountability. And so agent accountability is one of those things that everyone wants, or everyone says they want, but when you get into it, it's very, very different. And so we are starting agent accountability, and it's going to start next Tuesday. We'll be putting more details out, but it's going to be one where we are putting the accountability in. But you got to remember that be careful what you ask for. You just may get it. And so each of our accountability sessions is going to be every week, and then as part of that accountability sessions, myself, Keisha, Ming, one of us will teach for roughly about 10 minutes of that time. We'll have a mentor speak about what's going on in their market. And then everyone has to log in and put in their numbers for the week. How many phone calls did you make? How many houses did you show? How many properties did you send to your clients? Everyone has to go in and put their data in for what they accomplished last week, because this is accountability. And so a lot of people think, oh, accountability, that's nice, happy, rainbow, sunshine, puppies. No, this is work. And so you got to put out, you got to show what you're putting out, because we all hold each other accountable. It's how this works. And so once we put that in, then every single person that's part of this accountability group, you need to, everyone speaks, and you go over what your numbers were for last week. What was your one big win and what was your one big challenge? And then we do round robin. This is going to be on Zoom. We're going to go through that until everyone's more comfortable getting back together. But all this starts next Tuesday, and we'll be putting out some sign-up sheets and some of that information as well. So look for that to come along. All right. In the beginning, I told you that we were going to talk about Nelson Mandela. And in order to understand what an impact that he had and what he did, I think you have to understand. I'm kind of a student of history, and so I want you to understand the man Nelson Mandela and then his accomplishments. And I want us to look at how we can apply that to our business, because especially in the light of everything going on, we really need to understand that there are some amazing lessons that we can take from history on how to make real change, socially as well as in our business, kind of thing. So Nelson Mandela, he was born into a royal bloodline, but not the royal bloodline that you would think. He actually ended up living in straw huts with with a dirt floor kind of thing. His father died when he was 12, but he was kind of taken under the wing by a family friend kind of thing. He was the first person in his family to receive a formal education. And at that time, that was when he was given the English name of Nelson kind of thing. He entered college, first one in his family to do that. A very big challenge just to get into college in South Africa at that time. But he was then kicked out for participating in a boycotting against unfair university policies. He ran away to Johannesburg mainly because his family was trying to marry him off kind of thing. And so while in Johannesburg, he worked as a night watchman, a law clerk, all the time completing his bachelor's degree by correspondence kind of thing. It was at this point that he became involved in the movement against racial discrimination. In 1944, he joined the African National Congress, the ANC, and he established his youth league. The African-dominated National Party at that time, they had a formal system for racial discrimination. It was called apartheid. And Mandela and the ANC set in place boycotts, strikes, civil disobedience, just a ton of nonviolent methods to derive citizenship for all South Africans kind of thing. Because at that point, you had to be white to be a citizen in to be a citizen in South Africa, which makes absolutely no sense. He traveled, he crisscrossed the country kind of thing, organizing protests, anything that was discriminatory. He promoted this manifesto known as the Freedom Charter. In 1952, he opened South Africa's first Black law firm and offered free or no cost legal advice to those that were being affected by apartheid legislation. For 20 years, he directed peaceful, nonviolent acts against the South African government and its racist policies. In 1956, he and 155 other activists were put on trial they were acquitted, but you could see that there was a real shift going on in the government. They were out for him, kind of thing. And so in 1961, after killing 69 people, the government killed 69 people in a peaceful protest. There were riots all over the country. And so the government said the ANC was a terrorist organization. They basically Mandela got forced underground. He decided it was time for a new approach. He was tired of the passive resistance. He started a group called Spear the Nation. This was the armed wing of the ANC. And so he traveled abroad illegally. He went and attended conferences, met with Oliver Tambo, and then he also went through guerrilla training. As soon as he gets back, boom, he's arrested, sentenced to 5 years for leaving the country and inciting a workers' strike. The government then found evidence implicating him and other activists again, and he was actually charged with death first, and then it got moved to life imprisonment kind of thing. At that hearing, he said, I fought against white domination. I fought against black domination. I've cherished the ideals of democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony with equal opportunities. It's an ideal for which I hope to live for and achieve, but if needs be, an ideal for which I am prepared to die. I just can't understand that level of dedication, focus. I mean, that's just amazing. You're getting sentenced to life, and that's what you say. Yeah, that's your response. It's just staggering kind of thing. So for 18 years, he was held in Robben Island prison, which was a former leper colony. He didn't have a bed. He didn't have any plumbing, and he was forced into hard labor in lime quarry. I mean, like those pictures you have of guys hitting rocks with
picks.
I mean, that's really, he can only see his wife and family twice a year. Even through that, he earned his Bachelor of Law degree from the University of London while in prison. He also wrote and smuggled out a copy of his autobiography called A Long Walk to Freedom. And if you can read that, do it. It's an amazing story. A huge Free Mandela campaign was started by Oliver Tambo again that fueled, kind of the racial outcry. The government kept offering him freedom if he would compromise his beliefs every single time. And for years and years, he rejected everyone. And he was incarcerated for 27 years wrongly. And after 20 years, the government says that you have, sign this away, sign this, say you're going to do this, and we'll let you out of jail. And he said no. I mean, just to be that uncompromising in your values and in your beliefs is truly inspiring kind of thing. So in 82, he's moved to a different prison. He contracted TB and moved to another facility. The government started changing a little bit. And finally, he was released on February 11th, 1990. He spent 27 years behind bar. But all through it, he still was the symbolic leader of the anti-apartheid movement kind of thing. And so after he got his freedom, what did he do? First thing, boom, right back, and he starts negotiating with the National Party to end apartheid. This was a really unstable political climate. He dealt with people that taught nothing but hate and hated him, for which he actually earned the Nobel Peace Prize in 1993. Finally, in 1994, a free, multi-ethnic, multiracial elections were held, and the ANC won the elections and named Mandela as the first Black president of South Africa. He established a Trust and Reconciliation Commission to investigate human rights, both by his supporters and his opponents, kind of thing. He used the nation loves sport, and so he really used that as a pivot point to provide some kind of reconciliation between the blacks and whites, because the national rugby team was hated by the blacks, but it was cherished by the whites, and he got the entire country to support this team kind of thing. He oversaw the enactment of a new South African constitution, and he was always working on a razor. The economy was literally on the verge of collapse from day to day to day, and he navigated and negotiated, human rights and the whole nine yards as he was going through that kind of thing. In 1999, he ended his first term as president and said, you know what, that's enough for me, kind of thing. He retired from politics, but remained devoted throughout his entire life. He was a huge international advocate for the AIDS awareness and the treatment programs. In 2009, the UN declared July 18th as National Nelson Mandela Day, which is also his birthday, and he died in 2013. When you look at what this man accomplished in his life, but also how he really looked at the world and how he healed. And I look at that, especially in light of what we're going through today. He was not there to punish. And I want to kind of wrap up with four things that we really can take from Mandela's life and apply that in our real estate business today. And so kind of like the first thing is that, never abandon, help, or give up. He said that the struggle is my life. I'll continue fighting for freedom until the end of my days. But it's all going to be quotes because he has so many quotes. It's hard to fit them all in, kind of thing. And they're all so stinking good. One of the great ones is that learn the art of compromise. You can't compromise your principles, but you can't humiliate the opposition. No one is more dangerous than one is humiliated. If you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. Then he becomes your partner. Can you imagine negotiating a contract against Nelson Mandela? Totally own you, okay?
Yes. So, and there's time I know that you guys face some of the agents and it's very difficult deals. And sometimes I'm brought in the midst of that. So, we're here to support you, but at the same time, don't let your emotion overcrowd your judgment of what's right and what's wrong and what's good for your client.
Yeah. All through his life, Nelson remained to be extremely powerful and inspirational. As you move forward in your business, stay committed to your values, your objectives. Don't compromise on that. The next lesson that we can take is to take action. One of his most famous quotes was, "We can't win a war, but we can win an election." I think that's pretty poignant as far as today as well. But I also love the fact that, one of his other things was, don't be put off by difficulties. It always seems impossible until it's done. So we got to take action in our businesses, kind of thing. In your business and professional life, stay committed to fixing what's wrong and turn your real estate business in the direction that you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Next one is interesting. Learn how to forgive. He said, if there are dreams of a beautiful South Africa, then there are roads that lead to that goal. Two of these roads could be named goodness and forgiveness. How kind are you? He said that I believe that in the end, it is kindness and accommodation that are the catalyst for real change. And I love, he said, try a little kindness today. Mandela, he respected all people. One of the most amazing things is that Mandela's jailers, he was jailed for 27 years. His jailers were given seats of honor at his swearing in as president. I want to think that I can be that good of a man, that good of a person, that good of a leader. Can you imagine having the people that oversaw your incarceration for a third of your life, and then bringing them and having them as guests in seats of honor and when you get sworn into president? I know so many people would want to have them punished in front of everyone, kind of thing. So for us, we got to look at, respecting our clients, respecting our customers, our fellow agents, our vendors, all the people that make our business grow are worthy of our respect. How he did that, how he carried forward in that is truly an inspiration. How he carried South Africa through the elections and through the violence that could have erupted, but was really very minimal because of the amazing love and kindness that he had towards everyone. And last thing is that your past does not define you. We don't have to be victims of our past. We can let go of our bitterness, and then all of us can achieve greatness, he said. when he was first, sentenced to his first 5 years, there was a big risk that he was going to be put to death. His approach to life and when he finally retired was tread softly, breathe peacefully, laugh hysterically. And so go out and give it your all. We all face challenges. You're either those challenges are going to do one of three things. They're either going to define you, they're going to limit you, or they're going to drive you. And so I hope that today that you can use that to drive you, the challenges that you're facing, what's going on in our nation, what's going on with our economy, what's going on with our industry. I just want to kind of end with that. And we really do appreciate you. I hope that you can apply some of these principles to your business and help your business grow the way that he helped South Africa grow, kind of thing. So my name is Alan Richardson. I'm the managing broker. I didn't say that earlier. This is Ming Richardson. And so we really appreciate you.
And thank you so much for attending our Real Estate Backstories.
All right. We love it. And so if you need us, call, text, smoke signals, whole 9 yards. So we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Have a good day.